let's do it.
Okay. Okay, started it. It's on. Let's see here. Okay, we're live. This is Crypto the Wonder Dog. We got Dean, Rob, and Charlie. We're going live. We're going to talk to you guys today about what's going on in the crypto world. We're going to bring this to you a few times a week. Right now, we're just kind of feeling it out. We're gonna see what you guys think about it. We just want to open up the lines and just talk for a while. So right now we have on the line Charlie and Rob. Charlie, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Charlie Rojas. I have a background in both accounting and finance. Cryptocurrencies were introduced to me a few months ago by Dean, who's a longtime friend. I've known Dean since 1992. And in doing my due diligence, trying to figure out how this works, I've got a lot of questions. I know primarily, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, or anybody out there in cyber world, but cryptocurrencies are primarily based on mathematical algorithms. And so, as I was telling the guys earlier, most Americans are really phobic about mathematics, and especially about algorithms. They don't know. So I know that there's a lot of reticence and fear about this particular technology. But I'm here to learn. I'm here to listen to whatever advice and wisdom people have, and that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm so happy that Dean asked me to be part of this program.
Well, I met Rob just a few days ago, and through Rachel, and in talking with Rob, it was amazing how small this world is. Because when I started talking about a radio station that Charlie used to work for, Rob was like, "Hey, I know those guys. I think I know Charlie." And then it just seemed to, the universe kind of fell into place at that point, and I think that's kind of why this whole thing was brought together. So, Rob, meeting you was awesome, and we had a great talk. So, go ahead and talk about yourself real quick.
Oh, that was. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Dean. Like you said, we met mutually through our mutual friend Rachel, who's also my publicist and partner. Niche Marketing. So, I'm the president and founder of a company called Niche Marketing, and basically we're a digital ad agency. I have over 20 years of experience in marketing from actually the time I left KPFK over with you, Charlie. And I had gone on from working on really incredible shows like The Aware Show and a little stint at Democracy Now! To now basically moving into, like you were saying, it's all algorithms. Well, early on in my first ventures in startup land, I was into basically word of mouth marketing back in the 90s, when everything was more face to face. And so I had developed an entire business within the spa industry focused on meeting people face to face. And then once Groupon and Airbnb and Uber, and of course, all the big behemoths at the time, they were just changing and making more money, in a year's time than any company before them ever did. I just was like, I really need to start looking at digital and what's going on in this space. And so I spent literally over 5 years traversing digital marketing in all of its facets, from content to video, to the aspects of branding, and learning about all the different multi channels within digital. And so I ended up taking on a really amazing partner, and we've been over the last few years just having incredible clients, working with brands, showing them how to traverse digital. But when I talked to you, man, I was just really excited when you were talking about this idea of really bringing you and Charlie really breaking down crypto, and how we could be bringing together people's interest in figuring out really what's going on, but then also how it relates, as you were saying, Charlie, to the greater population and what we've been so used to using as far as traditional currency. So I'm really excited about all the people. I know so many people that are diving into it. Like I said, several one of my developers, we're working on some things in the background as well within it on more an incubator type situation to really help foster more assistance for all these ICOs that are trying to grow. So
Okay, so let's start with that. Let's just start with ICO. Then a lot of people that are just getting into this for the first time. I know when I got into it, I signed up with a few of these trading companies, and the very next day, the trading companies were shut down because so many people were trying to subscribe to these trading sites, and it was just amazing how in one day over 100,000 people signed up with a trading site because they heard about this skyrocketing Bitcoin and what happened. And and one of the analysts was saying that at that time, this was just a couple of weeks ago, that 1% of the entire world's finance was in cryptocurrencies. That's how explosive it was. It was over $800 billion almost overnight from just a couple of billion to 800 billion. And so ICO. So Rob, what's an ICO?
An initial coin offering. Yeah, basically it's when somebody can basically launch a currency in an alternative coin, as they would say in the marketplace, like a Bitcoin. And that's about as far as my knowledge is.
Rob, would you? Well, I'm thinking that there's an
pretty much where the buck stops there.
Initial coin offering. That's it.
Analogy between. But there's also something called the IPO that most people, I think, would be more familiar with, and that's an initial public offering. And so what happens is that a corporation, I remember when Facebook came out with its IPO, and it was highly anticipated because it was the first time that you could actually own shares in that company, I guess common stock. And, this goes back years. Ford Motor was the last automotive company, and I think one of the last companies to offer an IPO. And this was back in the 50s or 40s. And that was highly anticipated. Not that I was alive, but just in reading that how highly anticipated these things are because they're relatively rare. So you're coming in with an ICO, and based on either one, you have to know the information about the company. What you're really trading on is the information. The stock market, the bond market, they're all driven by the information that's supplied by the company. That's why you have outside auditors. That's why you have financial statements. Because really what you're trading isn't the company. You're trading the information they tell you about, profit and every other thing or cost, whatever you may want to look at. So with ICOs, I think this is the one place where there's a lack of information because we really don't know much about these companies. And like we were talking about earlier, it's premised on mathematical algorithms. And I think most Americans understand that they're very phobic about mathematics, which, whether it's good or bad isn't the point.
It's too much information.
So they don't know what they're looking at. Yeah.
For an American mind,
Well, but if you're going to buy stock in a company, you really want to know, well, what are the earnings? For instance, when I don't care, whatever it might be, they trade a product or a service, and you can go out there and tangibly look at the product and service that they provide. With an IC or with a cryptocurrency, you're really looking at what's the mathematics behind that. And so, people are just seeing the aftermath, the manifestation of these incredible rises in prices, but they don't, in my opinion, understand fully what backs this rise or this market value.
No, they're not.
Yeah, we're here to change that.
Yeah, and one of the I think the most influential persons that I've heard so far, a guy named Ronnie Moab, was saying that you can tell when a real IPO or ICO is happening because when you look at their white paper, it looks like it was written in the middle of the night by a bunch of crazy people because it's just kind of scattered. And that he was saying that was the ones that he read that were from the most from the coins that he thought or the tokens that he thought that would go the furthest and that were the most legitimate. The ones that he saw that ended up being the most fake were the ones that looked like they had been written. Everything was written out so perfect, like it was just perfectly written, and it was too perfect. And what they were doing, he said, for $100,000, you could start an ICO, cause great hysteria with, paying somebody $25,000 to write this, paying somebody, $10,000 to write that. And at the end of it, you've got $100,000 investment into something that you're going to call an ICO. You throw it up, no one's going to question it. You say you're going to solve this problem and that problem. And all of a sudden you start sending out coins, and, overnight you've made, $500 million because you're sending out these coins, and then poof, you're gone. So that happens. That's happening too much right now. And there's not enough, I guess, people that are looking into it to find out what's real and what's not real.
Right. Yeah. Hence for all the regulation. Right.
Well, the thing is, when you just finished talking to me, the first thing that popped into my head were over-the-counter stock market. They're also called pink sheets. These are companies
stocks.
that basically penny stocks.
Penny stocks.
Thank you very much. Penny stocks. And that's precisely, when you said this, that was what I thought of, because in most cases there is no value to the company. They just do a whole lot of marketing, and they spend an enormous amount
fire
of
sales. Is that what that term comes from?
Pardon me?
It's fire sales.
Yeah, primarily. And so, but the problem is that the market. You can buy stock for pennies. I mean, obviously less than $1, and you're hoping that there's going to be enough hysteria or enough people drawn to this that they're going to say, well, it's cheap enough, I'll just take a chance. And of course, it might rise to $4 or $5, and you hope you can sell. But the fact is that you may not find a buyer for that stock for maybe 3 months, because there's not enough of a market. There are not enough people that are going to buy it. Now, the problem here is with penny stocks, there's no oversight.
No.
None of those companies are audited. So you can literally put anything you want up there. You can sell the blue sky if you want. And if it's cheap enough, you're just hoping that you can, create a hysteria and create enough publicity, and people are going to be drawn to it, and the price is going to go up. You cash out and it's goodbye. Well, in a way, from what you're telling me, Dean, given what you just said, that's kind of what some of these cryptocurrencies are attempting to do. So there has to be a way, an attempt to try to separate those people who are more the hucksters that are doing the penny stocks, and people who are legitimately selling you something that has value.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, what's one of the another terms that I've heard in the last few weeks is pump and dump, and what they're basically doing these penny coins. They're less than a cent a piece. They create a little bit of a buzz. Oh man, this is going to the moon. It's going to the moon. Going to the moon. And they find a whale that'll dump a shitload of money into it. It skyrockets. Everyone jumps on board, and then they jump out. And then all these people that caught the hysteria, they're left holding the bag at at 1 cent whenever they everyone else bought in at 1/50th of a cent.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where I think our job is to be able to determine which may be and may not be that kind of situation.
Yeah, we want to bring in the people in the crypto world that can smell those things out. They know what's going to be a pump and dump, what's going to be a real ICO, what's going to be an ICO that has been written by a bunch of guys in a boiler room trying to make some money.
Yeah. And so,
that's a real good point. Yeah, I think a lot of it, hopefully we can rely on a lot of this, these financial analysts and people that are really, reading the data to such a granular view that hopefully that can tell that. Besides, like you said, that's really interesting. You brought up how they were written out, because that seems to be exactly opposite from, some of the work I've done with, accredited investors.
Oh yeah.
And in that world, it's, it's all about having your thing so on spec that makes so much sense that you would look for more of a kind of hashed out.
That's right. They look at the white papers and they think, oh my God, this is written so well and so perfect. It's got to be real. No, it's not.
Yeah. Well, that's so, it's so counterintuitive. I mean, think about it. Would you go into, if you were going to buy a stock, if you were going to go to a brokerage, And if the guys are sitting around there, they have 5 days worth of beard. They're in their pajama bottom, or they have to look. And of course, that kind of appearance can also be used to fool people. But it's counterintuitive. I mean, we too look for some authority. We ask for people to have some. We're going to give them our money, especially a lot of it. We were asking for you to be authoritative enough to be able to trust you. And what you just described, Dean, was so counterintuitive. But in many cases, that's kind of the way a lot of these initial IPOs, when startups were happening, it was written by a bunch of math geeks, and again, I suppose that's one of the reasons I'm a little hesitant about IPO or ICOs or any sort of cryptocurrency, and that's why I'm here to try and figure out, give me the information that induces me to get involved.
Yeah, and
indeed,
yeah, we need to hear these guys online, and if you think that there's people out there that are the influencers that you've seen that are bringing the real information. There's some guys out there that have been accused to really hype some of these sites. I heard of one guy today who was talking that he had to take all of his videos offline because he got death threats because he was talking about BitConnect, and everyone was accusing him of being on the guys that were
try to bring it down.
Yeah, the guys that were scamming people, and he was like, "Hey, man, I'm just like you. I lost a shitload of money too. I got a family. Please don't come and kill me. This is just Bitcoins."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, and he was one of the guys that he was the reason that I had actually went in and signed up with BitConnect, and I'm like, oh my God, this, and in the back of my mind, I hear the little guy going, "Hey, it sounds too good to be true. It probably is." And I'm looking at his, I downloaded this Excel sheet showing how you put in $100, and within 4 years, you've got, close to $1 million if you do it right, and with just $100. And I'm like, that can't be real. And looking at how much their daily interest was, it was insane. And there was a lot of people that made a crap load of money on this, and they're the ones boasting about it. And he was one too. I mean, he boasted about it. He had made a little bit of money, but he also lost a crap load of money because he had a lot of money still in there. And
and I think it talks about the fear people have. I mean, there's so much insecurity, financial and economic insecurity, that people just don't know. We were talking about pensions earlier, and how the state of California, for their public employees, is thinking of redoing the pensions. You're talking about people who work 30, 35, however many years. They're completely reliant on that. Now, there was a Teamsters, I think it was the Central States Pension Plan, that basically told them, I guess either went bankrupt or told their beneficiaries or the pensioners, sorry guys, you're only going to get 25 cents on the dollar, whatever it may be. So there's this tremendous fear. I mean,
no doubt. You almost think like they'll be better off literally taking a portion of that and investing it into some kind of cryptocurrency with, some really good financial tools behind it, helping them.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the overarching thing is we got fear. We really truly have a lot of people who are afraid, and we can't lose sight of that. We can't lose sight of the fact that if we're going to get on the air and speak with some authority, we got to remember there are people that are afraid out there, and so am I. To be quite honest with you, I have a son. He's in his late 20s. I don't know what he's done.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
No, you said it. You're right. I mean, come on. I mean, we're in a time. I mean, it's still we're still in that time where 1%, of the population controls majority of the wealth. I mean, right now it is really, I mean, what people are working with in relationship to, the powers in place right now. I mean, there's some really big players now. Companies, have got this kind of, I see this kind of oligopoly situation happening with companies now, where you got the big five now, right? And I mean, Jeff Bezos, just in the news, he just topped out, I think, one of the richest men, and besides that gentleman at Ripple, when he popped out of the blue, and I was like, wow, you know, and it had just gone up to $3 yet, you know, because when you have billions behind it, you know, you're able, and I think that's what it is. It's this buy low, sell high, you know, kind of thing that people are going to eventually be learning to embrace with currency. And it's everything is becoming more gamified. It's funny, you know, when you really break it down. And you were saying, Charlie, like, you know, it's really not losing sight of where I think, you know, where people are at right now and where things are escalating to so quickly. You know, I think we're in kind of the quickening with technology that, yeah, and crypto is just one of those really examples you can look at to really see where things are going on a, you know.
Well, it was so ignored.
How many? Sorry,
it was so ignored. Just until December, everyone was ignoring cryptocurrency. There was nothing in it. You know, oh my God, yeah, and
right.
Just by chance, it was so bizarre that I just thought about Bitcoin for some reason back in early December. Or maybe it was it was like around Thanksgiving, and I looked at it, and it was at $5,000, and I'm like, "Are you freaking serious?" Like I remember when it was 5 cents, and I was thinking at the time, "Hey, throw $100 into it. What's going to hurt?" And I didn't do it, and I feel like a freaking idiot. And I could have been, you know, multi-millionaire. I wouldn't be talking to you guys right now because I'd be on a beach somewhere drinking a Mai Tai with a little umbrella in it.
Oh. You said it.
Well, I'm doing that anyway.
Margaret,
I do that anyway. I don't have any money, but I'm not going to say that. But that's not going to stop me from doing that. You know?
Margaret, yeah, you said that right. What are you talking about? I know.
I don't need to be a millionaire to do that. No. But the point is, think about it this way, guys. How many hours a week do you put in on your job? How many hours do you have to really crank?
How many hours are in a day? That's how many I do it.
And there you go. And so you talk to people, and there's just people like this who may be carrying multiple jobs, who have student loan debt that they can't pay, and all of a sudden they take a look at something like cryptocurrency that, like you said, Dean, went from 5 cents to 5,000, literally in a matter of a few weeks. That's more money than they could possibly make in maybe decades working as hard as they do.
Well, it went faster from 5,000 to 20,000. I mean, it took a couple of years to go from 5 cents to $5,000. I mean, it was a stretch there. And, you know, be honest with you, I mean, most people probably pulled out at like $200. They're like, oh my God, it's $200? Look how much money I made. Had no idea this thing was going to go to $20,000 a coin when they bought it at 5 cents. Man. I just saw something just the other day that 50 Cent just found out he has $7 million. $7 million in Bitcoin.
Yeah. No, 8 million.
Oh, was it 8 million?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. One person that didn't actually need it.
No, he was on the record and said he would take Bitcoin for it. Yeah. I was just smart, man.
But Bob, you made a point that everything is becoming, you know, there's just a few companies that are going to be owning something. Just keep in mind something. Fox was bought by Disney. About a month ago. So and you know, Bob, you and I were at KPFK during that period of time in the 90s when there was so much consolidation in the media. I mean, you couldn't keep track. And yet, there's so few of these companies, and yet they're still buying each other. It seems like Disney's going to own like the right-hand side of the world.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be United States of Disney.
Right.
And Amazon on the left, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Here's Disney, all your entertainment, and you're going to buy everything else from Amazon.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And the thing is, those guys, the reason they're consolidating is one reason, is because there's not enough of a market share to sustain both of them. Both companies, Fox and Disney, do not have enough advertising dollars out there to sustain them. You know, there's just not that many advertisers. And so people are going to be laid off because there's going to be downsizing. And when you think about the people that are hired at these places, these are people with, you know, maybe graduate degrees that have been doing this kind of work for many years. They're supposedly highly educated, and yet they're not safe. So, as it turns out, 99% of us aren't safe. So,
no.
Right. No, it's all a big risk. I mean, Rachel's client James Sowers was speaking to this basically. He doesn't really say things a lot of people like, but he really, at these conferences and places he really speaks to how it's all risk. And it really is, yeah, it really is up to you to really watch. It takes a really daily kind of behavior and that kind of involvement if you're really going to get into it, unless you're going to have somebody else do it for you.
Well, that's the sad thing about
a learning process.
Yeah, well, that's the sad thing about the Middle America. I think the flyover states is that I've seen a lot of these people that had went in. They saw this explosion. They went and took out loans. They went and maxed out their credit cards to go buy this stuff at $20,000. They lost their shit now. And I saw something just the other day that more people now have we're putting more money into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies than they were into their credit card payments. And so now we've got a whole new problem going on with people thinking that, I'm going to get rich on this overnight. And you would have if you'd have put that money into it in November. But now everybody knows about it. It's a secret that's out. And all these other people that got on board and they chased, they were chasing that tail right when it was going up over the top, and they caught onto it at the top, and they're like, oh crap. My $20,000 Bitcoin is now worth $10,000. I lost.
Well, I tell you though, what the idea is, if people hold on.
That's what's happened is that these people, they're not doing. They got cold. They got what they call weak hands. They let go at 10,000. They lost half their money because they didn't realize, hey.
See, that's the craziest thing to do because they're saying it may go up to 115,000.
Oh, I've heard a million. I've heard a million. The guy from with PayPal was saying that I see it going to 1 million.
I mean, honestly, guys, is there something? As I'm sitting here, because I've seen, like I said, I was telling Dean the other day that I'm of the age that I've seen real estate. I've seen 2 real estate booms and busts. I've seen the day trading boom and bust. I've seen the tech boom and bust. And the reality is that the American economy, whether you like it or not, is premised on boom and bust. We have gotten, if you had talked to my parents or grandparents or your parents and grandparents, they would have said, oh, yeah, of course. Things like the Depression actually do happen. Things like 10 years of not being able to find an adequate job. These things do happen here in America. But we've grown up to believe that all that's been taken care of, and it's not. It's not true. Mm-hmm. Dean, you live in Orange County.
Oh, yeah.
And the Santa Ana River, they showed a video that somebody sent to me about the homeless people that are lining along the banks of the Santa Ana River.
Amazing.
You got miles and miles of people.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying when we talk about cryptocurrency, you cannot, at least in my opinion, you cannot factor out the reality of what's taking place in the economy right now. And we're not having the kind of growth that can sustain, in my opinion, a cryptocurrency going up to $1 million. I can't see it.
Yeah. Homelessness right now, you're right, is a state of emergency. And you're right, these fluctuations, I mean, when you think about the boom and bust scenario, it's like how much more can it take, like you said, as far as in relationship to the dollar?
Yeah.
And how that, and how people are feeling about that versus, all of these currencies. But, like you said, if 70-80% of them are fake, I mean, it's really going to be talking about, it's really got to come down to really like you said, maybe a way or process of really vetting these out.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing right now is that the reason that everyone wanted to do this was to get the government's out of this
regulation.
Yeah, no regulation. Yeah. Let's do something, and then of course you don't realize that there's bad going to be everywhere, and of course there's going to be idiots that come in and they're going to taint this water, and they're going to put their snot in the water, and then everyone's going to drink it and go, oh crap, everything's bad in the crypto world. And it's not. It's just there's some bad people in the crypto world, just like everywhere else. So,
gentlemen, I'm going to have to bid farewell. This has been a fascinating conversation. We have to pick this up whenever we can, because it's obvious you guys have a lot to know or a lot to say and have a lot of knowledge. And I'm going to have to bid farewell tonight. But let's do this again, because obviously you guys have something to say. And it was great meeting you, Robert, and having this conversation.
Oh, likewise, Charlie. No, man, it was really good hearing you again, man.
Yeah,
and same with
I
you,
always
Dean.
love your perspective.
Yeah. This has been a great show, and I hope that you everybody out there likes this show. I hope everyone gets something out of it. We're not financial advisors by any means. Don't take anything that we say and go and bank on it, because we're going to make you broke. Don't. But listen to we're going to bring people on that aren't. We're going to bring people on that will tell you this is what you should do. This is what you should not do. And listen to them. Listen to the pros that are doing this for a living. We're here for the entertainment. We're here for the love. We're here because, we like to hear our voice, and we want other people to hear our voice.
And we're also learning ourselves. So thank you.
We are.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
Likewise.
All right, guys. It's been a pleasure working
Charlie.
with you. We will be back soon. Keep looking to Crypto the Wonder Dog to bring you the latest news and entertainment in crypto land. Thank you very much. We'll see you later.
Take
Crypto.
Oh, that was awesome.